My name is Dr. Eric Bender. I'm a psychiatrist and I specialize in child adolescent psychiatry, adult psychiatry, and forensic psychiatry. Thank you all for watching my videos on YouTube. I really appreciate the support and all the questions. I'm going to try to talk about some of the series and movies that you've asked me about, talking about mental health and how we see that depicted by the characters and also in the storyline. In Disney's Encanto, there are a lot of themes about emotions and psychological development. In the story of Encanto, Abuela, the grandmother that really is the matriarch of the family, has a history of trauma. So when she was a young mother and she had 3 children with her husband, he was attacked and killed as these invaders came and chased the Colombians out of their village. Her candle then burns with this magical realism that allows the family to live and have this magical house, the casita. And it's really important to her that the power of the candle continues and that the magic keeps on going. The theme of transgenerational trauma is really big in the movie. So Abuela has experienced this horrible trauma watching her husband die, and she does not want to have that loss experienced by anybody. And what she's done is she's created this family in this town where the family is really instrumental in everyone surviving and thriving and doing well. And that's her goal. It's what drives her. Make sure everybody's okay. We have to keep the magic going. The story itself continues to highlight these emotional effects of the trauma on Abuela, but also on her offspring. Transgenerational trauma refers to a trauma that happens to a group of people, or in this case, a parent. That trauma has effects on the psychological and emotional development of the offspring, of the next generation. And we hear about this through the songs, through the wonderful songs in Encanto, talking about things like pressure and the idea of doing things for others. Mirabel, the main character, doesn't have a gift. And what is clear by the end of the movie is that one of her gifts is actually to have people reveal who they are to her, and she can tolerate that. But the driving force seems to be making sure Abuela is okay and is not re-traumatized. And that is something I see in children. Children are very intuitive and they thrive on the love from parents or their caretaker. When a child doesn't feel like they have that love for whatever reason, they figure out a way to get it. And they continue to do things that make them feel like they're loved. So in this case, let's take Luisa first in the song Surface Pressure.
Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can be of service.
She's actually wondering, what value does she bring? What if she couldn't be this strong woman who just picks up pianos and picks up houses and moves everything? But she feels the pressure to keep doing that, to have everything people ask her to do done, to take care of it. So moving donkeys, whatever it is that she needs to move, because if she doesn't, there's this feeling something bad's gonna happen. And that's coming from Abuela's worry about the trauma that she experienced and not wanting anybody to experience loss, wanting everybody to be happy and to thrive. But there's a price that Luisa pays. She can't be herself. She doesn't know what that's like. She talks about it's a drip, drip, drip. It's nonstop pressure to do things right. Luisa says at one point, who am I if I can't run with the ball? You know, who am I if I fold? And what if I didn't have these expectations? So there's that question of what would life be like if I didn't have to do these things? How could I function? But there's that fear of what is going to happen, meaning would she lose the love of Abuela the way that Bruno did? And we should talk about Bruno because Bruno actually does really illustrate an intolerance for sadness.
I knew how it was going to look. I knew what everyone would think because I'm Bruno and everyone always assumes the worst, so...
You left.
The fact that he would tell Abuela and others what the future would hold and it wasn't what she wanted, she couldn't handle that. And the lyrics say Uncle Bruno disappeared from the Family Madrigal song. He didn't disappear, but he was made to feel like he had no space. Bruno had to disappear. He sensed that there was no room for him because he couldn't be the person that he was, telling the truth. It was too much for his mother. It was too much for Abuela to hear the truth and to be upset. He knew that. And similarly, if you look at Aunt Pepa, who can control the weather with her thoughts, if you notice, she has to push away the sadness because that makes it rain. But she's not allowed to make it rain. She has to keep pushing it away and pushing it away. So these children are not allowed to have feelings, they're not allowed to have their emotions. They start to sense their emotions are too much. And what the writers did a great job of here, among many things, is to show how when that feeling is present, people react differently. Bruno realized, okay, I guess I just can't be around. So he disappeared into living behind the walls. And Luisa has this incredible anxiety that she feels. She's not Abuela's direct offspring, but we see how this has affected even future generations. Sometimes this happens when there's a first generation, there's expectations of how they're going to do and what life they need to have. When I see families have moved to this country from another country, and I'm seeing the first generation children, or even adults, there's an expectation of what life should be like for them. But often that crowds them out of their own life, and they don't have a chance to be who they are. And that's where Isabela comes in. Isabella's song.
I just made something unexpected, something sharp, something new.
Lisa, this is the part where we...
It's not symmetrical or perfect, but it's beautiful, and it's mine. What else can I do?
She talks about, I just made something sharp. I just made this cactus. In the scene, she's made a flower that was a reflection of her in the moment and what she was feeling, the hurt she might have felt herself, having to close off herself for so long. And Mirabel helps her realize, and in that song, you see them come together. She helps Isabela realize she can be who she is and she can be happy being her, and there's nothing wrong with that. So Mirabel has this relationship with her siblings, and they can be themselves with her. It's a really remarkable gift that she actually has, even though it's not magic. We see this magical gift at the end where she helps people realize that they need to be themselves. The magic comes into Mirabel's life actually after she helps Abuela realize how alone she's been. The trauma that she experienced herself, watching her husband die, raising 3 kids on her own.
Abuela, it's okay. We're gonna save the miracle. The magic.
What are you talking about? Look at our home. Look at your sister.
Please, just... Isabela wasn't happy, and
Of course she isn't happy. You ruined her proposal.
No, she needed me to ruin her proposal, and then we did all this, and the candle burned brighter, and the cracks...
Mirabel.
That's why I'm in the vision. I'm saving the miracle.
You have to stop, Mirabel. The crack started with you. Bruno left because of you. Luisa's losing her powers. Isabela's out of control because of you.
It has been incredibly lonely for her, and she has focused on this goal of making this village and making sure the town and everybody is doing well. It's really lonely to be crowded out by a pressure like that. But she turns to that, probably not even realizing it, she turns to that because it doesn't let her feelings about her husband and the death and the trauma come in. But it's still present. It's present in how she's running everything and in how she pushes away Bruno and how she does not want anybody around that's going to mess up anything. And that's why Mirabel feels there's no place for her. There's no room for her to make mistakes. When I see kids like that, and even adults, it's pretty miserable for them. They don't feel like they can be in their lives. They don't feel like they can live the life they want to be. And that is pretty scarring. So that can lead to depression, anger. There's an idea that depression is anger turned inward. That would make a lot of sense for these kids that are depressed because they can't be who they are and they're angry that they can't be who they are. So that's something that in therapy you can help work out. Or if you have a Mirabel in your life, you can go talk to her and she can help you work it out. When Mirabel is singing Waiting on a Miracle, there's a part where she says, open your eyes, open your eyes, open your eyes. She's singing to Abuela, I want to be seen, see who I am. And that's actually what all of these characters want to be seen as who they are. Luisa doesn't just want to be the strong person, and Mirabel doesn't want to be the kid who has no magical gift. Isabella doesn't want to be the woman who's just going to make all these pretty flowers. She wants to be her, wants to make something true, something real. What's true and real is who somebody is, and you have to see who they are for them to feel like they're good. Even Mirabel's father, who's married into the family, married Julieta, understands the damage that making Abuela upset could potentially cause. He has that same feeling. When Mirabel has the vision that the casita's magic is cracking, he looks at her, the father looks at Mirabel and says, nobody has to know, no one has to know, as if trying to make sure that nobody is upset in any way. And this transgenerational trauma has affected him. He's married into the family, so you can only imagine what it's like for Abuela's children and then the grandchildren like Mirabel, Luisa, and Isabella. Abuela is so afraid of losing this miracle that she says she's forgotten who this miracle is for. That again shows how much this means to her and how it really does become the focus of her life instead of her dealing with the sadness that's happened.